Don Fehr announced Monday that he's planning on retiring at the end of March. But did he wait too long? Let's get into that. Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com. Let's bring in our CBSSports.com baseball columnist, Scott Miller. And Scott, you wrote after all this came out on Monday that you thought this should have come a long time ago. Why do you say that?
Well, because as dominates so much of the other discussion in baseball, Jason, the steroid issue, once that started mushrooming out of control, I thought Don Fehr, as director of the Players Union, abdicated his responsibility on the steroid issue as it mushroomed and got worse and worse and worse. Eventually, the Players Union agreed to open the collective bargaining agreement, reopen it, and then negotiate some steroid testing in there. To their credit, but it was several years too late. For many years, they stonewalled on the issue, and Don Fehr said, "Hey, this is a privacy issue. It's not a performance issue or anything else." And I think his stance for many years that it's a privacy issue, and we're basically stonewalling anybody that wants to even discuss steroid testing. I think in the end, that did his players a huge disservice because it ended up squeezing some clean players out of the game who opted to stay clean and not do steroids. And number two, I think it did his players a huge disservice because now, a few years down the road, you even have clean players now who are suspects, and that relates back to Don Fehr and the union, their union, refusing to agree to testing for so long.
Scott, so much has been made since he announced the retirement Monday about the fact that baseball players' salaries have increased phenomenally since he took over. But how much of that do you think has to do with the fact that they were avoiding drug testing, and so the numbers kept getting higher?
Well, a certain percentage does. I mean, guys like salaries for certain individuals like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, as they were producing these comic book superhero numbers, went up. But overall, I think salaries were going up for many years, way before the steroids. That's certainly one thing Don Fehr is going to hang his hat on. In the 26 years that he was director of the Players Union, the average salary for big leaguer increased from $289,000 to just under $3 million, and the minimum salary went from $60,000 to about $400,000, and it went way up. Everybody made a lot of money as far as the players are concerned. Eventually, once the steroids started, as I say, I think sure some of that was pushed up by steroids, but it had long since increased significantly.
Scott, what do you think faces Michael Weiner in terms of the most pressing task when he'll take over, assuming he is the person that takes over?
Well, I think you can't get away from the steroid issue. I mean, not to beat what we wish was a dead horse, but the game is more popular than it's ever been. The players and owners have a pretty good partnership going now. The last two basic agreements actually were negotiated without a strike or a lockout. Things have been going well for a while, but what Michael Weiner, assuming he takes over, is going to have to be a part of is, one way or another, the Players Union, the owners, the whole game itself has to get beyond the steroid issue. And because of the past, because they didn't get control of it way back when, that's going to be really difficult to do. I think we're going to continue to see leaks like the recent one with Sammy Sosa, that he failed his drug test back in 2003. I think we're going to see that for many, many years yet. But that's, to me, the biggest thing Michael Weiner is going to have to do is he's going to have to continue to go forward with the owners down the path of testing for performance-enhancing drugs and somehow get past the suspicion and the filth of that.
All right, Scott Miller, thank you very much for the time. We'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good, Jason.
All right, folks, for more on this story, be sure to read Scott's article here and his reaction on CBSSports.com. For Scott Miller, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.